You're watching Force 13's live streaming service. Good morning, this is Force 13 Live. We are literally just processing some recon data whilst we open up this stream. As you can see, Hurricane Melissa has made good on its appearance throughout the course of yesterday when it looked like a Category 5 but wasn't. Now it looks like a Category 5 and is. According to latest recon data, winds of at least 160 miles per hour, possibly higher. Pressure estimate now around 911 millibars and still deepening, and we expect that this storm will continue to intensify today. We are explicitly forecasting a 175 mile per hour peak and also a Category 5 landfall in Jamaica. Unfortunately, I'm afraid it is no longer hyperbolic to suggest that this storm is going to be delivering a paralyzing blow to the western part of the island of Jamaica, as it makes most likely a Category 5 landfall tomorrow morning. That's the forecast, and that is also supported pretty much by the National Hurricane Center's forecast as well. They are forecasting a 165 mile per hour peak, but right now we're trying to process all this recon data that's literally coming in thick and fast at this moment, to see if the storm has actually intensified any further than the 160 that we're giving. AF308, it was just in the eye a second ago, extrapolated 910 millibar from the flight level. NOAA 2 was in the eye around 10 minutes ago, 15 minutes ago, and they got an extrapolated 909.9 millibars. But we are eagerly awaiting drop zone info about a little bit more of an accurate depiction of what that central pressure might actually be. But certainly it seems like it's hovering around 910 millibar range. This storm is looking phenomenal once again today. Here it is on early visibles, and you can see it in relation to Jamaica, and still staying pretty much equidistant from the coast as it has been doing in the last 12 to 24 hours. It is still around 165 kilometers or so from the closest point of land, which is now Treasure Beach. I think that was the name. Yep, Treasure Beach is now the closest point to the center of the storm, approximately 169 kilometers, which is 105 miles. So movement is still looking westerly. If anything, that's good news for places like Kingston, obviously the capital of Jamaica, highest population center. It does appear at this point as though the storm is going to be rounding upon a landfall in western Jamaica. However, hurricane force winds will still be possible in Kingston and across the whole of eastern Jamaica. But of course, along the western region, we are looking at really exceptional winds. Let's not forget that Hurricane Gilbert is the strongest storm to make landfall in Jamaica, and it was a borderline Category 4. This will be a probably clear-cut Category 5 by the time it makes landfall. You saw me there for a second. My name's Nathan Foy here in the studio, and I'm joined at this hour by Jack and Blaine. Hello to both of you. We're looking at the National Hurricane Center cone right now from earlier as well. If you've missed it, they extended tropical storm warnings to the whole of Haiti and have removed the hurricane watch, and they've put out a hurricane watch now for the Turks and Caicos Islands and for southern and central Bahamas. There has also just been a magnitude 6 earthquake near Guadeloupe off towards the northeast in the last hour. I did very briefly have a look at it. It is some distance out to sea. It will have been felt. I don't expect that impacts will have been major, but if we hear otherwise, we will obviously let you know about another developing story at this hour. Jack, Melissa was looking exceptional yesterday, but particularly overnight last night. I don't know if you saw it, but what are your thoughts on the storm now?
Oh, I think I'm still just as impressed by it now. But last night, after waking up this morning, I saw what it had looked like last night and how things went down last night. And its eye was incredibly dry, incredibly like warm and dry eye. And I don't know. I think mentioned earlier. I don't know if it's true. I just saw mentioned earlier that apparently it is the warmest Atlantic eye. No, driest. Sorry, driest Atlantic eye.
One of. I'm not sure how much that counts for, but certainly an extremely impressive storm. The eye temperature right now is around 22 degrees Celsius, which those of you who are familiar with those kinds of numbers know that that is a very high number. Once again, the satellite appearance is still looking better than what the Recon planes are actually finding even at this point. Last night, when it reached what I would describe as its satellite peak in the early hours of this morning, very late hours of last night, local time, this storm was on raw satellite estimates around 185 miles per hour. At that point, Recon were only finding winds of around 150 miles per hour, I think it was, 145. So again, massive discrepancy. Right now, the satellite appearance is actually not quite as good as it was late last night, but is still obviously phenomenal, well into the Category 5 range, and now that is becoming supported by Recon, so the actual winds on the ground are catching up. A comment from Tom Stevenson there says, can we have some non-scaremongering coverage like all the other channels are saying? You know, it annoys me as much as anyone else, and I'm big on bringing us proper coverage. Now, I did obviously say at the beginning something that I don't usually say regarding just how severe the impacts will be on Western Jamaica. I'm afraid to say that that is reality. There isn't really hyperbole around that. I don't see any way in which this storm will weaken much before it makes landfall in Western Jamaica, so wherever it hits, I'm afraid it is going to be catastrophic impacts. But yes, like your comment says, saying it's 200 miles an hour sustained winds, no, it definitely is not, and nothing has ever indicated that, not even the most intense satellite raw estimates. So let's keep our feet on the ground. We are bringing to you the best that we know with all of our knowledge and experience of covering these storms around the world for over 10 years. So latest on Recon then, let's see if we've just if we've had any new drop-ons, which will hopefully tell us a little bit about the pressure. Still haven't got it yet from NOAA 2, if they even got one. They got a drop-on down to the 929 millibar level, which is still in the eye wall, and wow, some of the winds that they would get, wind gusts on the way down at the 917 millibar level, which is about only 100 meters, 194 knot wind gust, which is nearly 230 miles per hour. A really extraordinary.
I have to go get McDonald's. Sorry.
Wonderful. I was right in the middle of all that, Blaine, but you know, I mean, you didn't really need to tell us that, but off he goes. And so that's really impressive. And looking at AF308, which looks like it's just done an eye drop. No, it hasn't. Don't have info on that potential drops-on data yet, whether it actually dropped one in there or not. But both of those passes have been getting flight level winds of approximately 150 to 155 knots, maybe even slightly higher on that AF308 mission. So that would correspond to at least 160 miles per hour winds on the ground right now, which is what is currently being depicted, and Category 5 status, of course, maybe 165. Let's cross over to some other satellite imagery this morning as well. This is the viewpoint. Just look at how impressive this looks, and let's zoom right in. Well, there's Jamaica first of all, but zooming right in on the eye of the storm. There it is. One of the clearest eyes, certainly, as well. Extremely impressive. Hardly cloud-filled at all. Even the wispy stuff that's down there near the lower levels of the eye. Not much of that even as well. This is a really incredible looking storm. And like we mentioned, eye temperature around 22 degrees Celsius. Real stadium effect there. And this storm still looks like it's going to be intensifying. So when we look at the potential timeline for its upcoming landfall, there's that National Hurricane Center cone. They're calling for landfall to occur in the morning hours of Tuesday. And the first points there, the first two M points, are both Category 5 points, which is implying that it could make landfall in Jamaica as a Category 5, and then continuing over the island, Category 4 on the other side, maybe still a 4 or a 3 by the time it reaches the coast of Cuba, near Guantanamo, and then near Santiago de Cuba, actually, and then continuing off towards the northeast through the southeasternmost of the Bahamas. Hurricane force winds possible anywhere around there, and could head up straight towards Bermuda after that, where hurricane force winds will also be possible before turning post-tropical just after it passes Bermuda by the time we get towards the end of the week. That cone is getting tighter and tighter as we get a little bit more certain over what's going on. So interesting.
Back.
Welcome back, Lane. Hope you enjoy that. And well, what are I don't know if you want to keep talking, but what are your thoughts on Melissa right now? Are you more impressed than you were yesterday?
Well, definitely by how the eye looked last night. I definitely, going back on what Jack said, I definitely do think it looks quite dry. It was quite open, really open, almost like it had its own, it was like living and had its own eyes. But basically, I'm definitely quite impressed on just how just also the discrepancies of the storm right now between, like, you know, with Recon not supporting how it looks from satellite and vice versa. I just definitely think, I don't know, obviously Recon does try to put, you know, accuracy and stuff first, but I'm quite surprised with the data we're getting from Recon.
Yep, well, I've just got NOAA 2 drops on data in the eye now, and it's gone 915 millibars at 15 knots. So actually, pressure looks like it's holding again here, somewhere around the 913 millibar range. That's the latest from NOAA 2.
We have, whenever you want to switch over to my screen, we do have some a webcam from Kingston Harbor right now. They're really getting battered. You can tell the conditions have dramatically changed from when we looked at this webcam yesterday. I'm actually quite curious. I don't know if it's someone who operates it or if it moves by itself.
It's going to be automatic.
Yeah, it probably is. No, but you can definitely tell the camera itself is shaking a lot more than it was yesterday. So that's definitely from the winds, and it's the waves are much more rough, and it's just, you know, you can also tell from the palm trees and stuff that it is really
So,
Yeah, it's really rough stuff. Here's Maypen currently, downtown
Rainy.
Maypen right now. Yeah, you can see it's definitely raining quite a lot. Definitely quite windy because I mean it's not going to take a lot, but you can see the power lines also jumping a bit. And then we have a new one, a random stoplight webcam here. You can see the grounds are very red, so it's definitely rained quite a lot over the last let's say 12 hours or so. Yeah, no, it's definitely the conditions have rapidly deteriorated. And then you can also see here is West Parade, and then we had that other one from the other day. We have halfway Tree Transport Center. You can also see it's quite wet here. It actually looks like, I don't know if that was there yesterday. It also looks like there's quite a bit of cracking in the pavement there. I'm not sure what that's about.
I don't
And
know.
then
I
we
think that just
have
looks normal to me.
yeah, and then we have Flatbridge here. There was I can see the river. You can definitely see it's raining here. Not as windy where this is, but it's
No, not
yeah.
inland. I actually don't think we've got the stations responding anymore at the airports. So all I've got is one observation location here at Spanish Town. And I can't really give you much info on it because they're getting barely any winds. I'm not sure whether that's accurate. Humidity is
Yeah.
high. It's not got it's not got a listing of how much rain has fallen, so all I can tell you really is the pressure at that location, around 1006 millibars right now at Spanish Town, which is northeast of Kingston. Interestingly, the pressure is actually rising there right now, of course, because the storm is actually moving a little bit further away from the Kingston area at this time. But it is going to be slingshotting back in towards, of course, western Jamaica. So it actually reached a minimum pressure early this morning, around 3 a.m., of 1004 millibars there. But yeah, not much else I can tell you because they're not keeping rain data, I'm afraid.
Oh yeah, I'm looking here. Actually, there's a couple weather stations that are still reporting. Currently, I can try and see if I can get some rain data from them.
Yeah.
Let's see here. 10 minutes ago, pressure's actually also actually rising here
Yeah.
for some reason.
Well,
Where's this? Brownstown.
you say for some reason. I mean, the storm at present is moving away from Kingston, but it's gonna
Yeah,
round on,
this
turn
is
back.
northern actually. This is northern. Let me get closer to the Kingston area here. If this app could work properly, thank you.
Well, Blaine's investigating over there. Let's take a look at some more imagery whilst we wait. This is once again the Zaire imagery, which you can find on the Forster Team website. Latest images of the storm. Still looking phenomenal. There's not much else we could say about the structure of this storm. I guess the real changes since last night, when it was really looking so impressive with those cloud tops, at one point minus 80 circling all the way around, only short-lived though. That was at about 11 p.m. last night local time. Well, that's obviously not quite the case anymore, but in response to that, the eye temperature has increased since then too. Last night it was around 19 Celsius. Now it is around 22 Celsius, and that's just depicted from satellite. In reality, the eye will be warmer than that. NOAA 2 have finished, so they weren't in there for that long. NOAA 2 have concluded their mission inside the storm, and unfortunately still haven't seen any drop-ons in the eye from AF308. Really though, the biggest thing I've noticed with this storm is just how sharp the strongest winds are when the planes fly into the storm. We're only talking about a few miles of major hurricane force winds on all sides of the eye, but because it is so abrupt like that, it's why we're seeing this storm getting so intense and those winds getting so strong, because it's such a small profile. It's not distributed over a wider area and flattened out those spikes. So that's why we're seeing this storm with really incredible winds, and obviously that small core as well. Again, this imagery doesn't really do it justice as to how small this storm actually is. If I was to bring to you a different way of looking at this, which is the RAM 4 kilometer imagery, which is my go-to for a lot of analysis. Here's how it actually looked. Oh, well, there's me on that side. But this is how that actually looks there. It looks much smaller from this perspective when you look at it in context with the whole of the Western Caribbean. It's barely bigger than Jamaica itself. But obviously it's packing a tremendous amount of power. That's from the RAM 4 kilometer imagery.
Dynamite comes in small packages.
Yeah. Have you found anything?
I have actually. Some weather stations have picked up some, specifically more, I'm gonna say north of Kingston, near, what is it, Portmore. There's a couple, and we've picked up really high humidity. And
well, yeah, of course.
I would expect that. Quite not too bad winds, but it is a weather station, and stuff, and these are quite far inland.
Well, yeah, I think inland there's not going to be much in wind at this point.
Yeah, but I do see the rain totals right now. This weather station last picked up rain 2 minutes ago, and we've had about an inch in the last day or so. Looks like it. At this specific one. And then, what is it? It also, funny enough, actually says up here, Hurricane Melissa will affect this area, the area this morning into tomorrow afternoon. So that's quite interesting. But it's definitely quite a really, I mean, obviously hasn't made landfall yet, but you can already tell that, especially based on all the vantage points we have here, it's definitely already packing a punch to Jamaica. And I just pray for all the people currently on the all the people that are maybe riding the storm out or that type of thing. I just really pray that they stay safe. And you can actually also see here on this West Parade
a little bit
webcam. Yeah, the wind is definitely picking up quite a bit. I mean, we have the camera moves around all the time, so different vantage points. So I don't know why, but there's some random boxes here on the side of the road.
Yeah.
But no, definitely a really it's really packing a punch, this storm, and just stay safe.
It's certainly going to. Okay, we're also joined by JJ right now as well. Welcome back. We were talking at length after last night's stream, weren't we? Watching the storm's progression when it was reaching what looks like so far its satellite peak. And it still wasn't a Category 5 at that point. What were your thoughts of that, and your thoughts this morning looking at it?
Well, I was rather surprised seeing that, especially with the impressive cloud tops like you mentioned earlier. I think I noticed that Western Shy completely built back in. It was a little bare during the most of our stream last night, and those minus 80s, they really took over. It was making a west-southwest motion, and those cloud tops were very impressive. Rarely do you see storms like this in the Atlantic have that full ring of deep minus 80s around the center of the storm. But with time, obviously, a lot of those minus 80 cloud tops are hard to sustain. But the storm has rather picked up which I think we all knew was going to happen. It's caught up intensity-wise now, Category 5, winds of 160 miles an hour, pressure of 913 millibars, and it looks like it's going to continue to strengthen throughout the rest of the day. So, still waiting to see when that peak will be, and still waiting to see when that turn to the north will be.
Yeah.
Because last night I did notice that southwestward jog,
And another
I
one
think
right
around
now.
11. Yeah, and it
Mhm.
eventually bobbled back to the north. And I was talking with Tim. He thought that was going to be the turn to the north. It immediately shifted back into a due westward motion,
Yeah.
and eventually shifted due north northwest. Now it's on a little bit of a southwest motion, and all of these wobbles and slight shifts are going to affect this turning location, and
Mhm.
it could determine whether you see a landfall on central Jamaica still, which is still on the cards, or for a little bit further west is we can actually wait and see when the storm decides to finally make that turn.
Yeah. Just I want to make a comment here. Sorry, I got some food in my mouth. Uh, Someone actually said here, which webcam was it? I think it was this one, Maypen. They had a power outage on the webcam, so I'm assuming that might be from the storm already. And yeah, it froze up. I don't know what time that was, but someone said it was frozen. But these webcams do actually apparently they have power backup and all of that stuff. So
Interesting.
because they're funded through donations, so that's cool to see.
Yeah.
Just wanted to make that
AF
comment.
AF308 are now about to ride along the northern periphery of the storm. They're just off the coast of Jamaica, and they're going to be flying westwards. It'll be interesting to see where they go next. I think they may be getting ready for a north to south pass, so we'll wait and see what happens with that. But that's AF308, one of the other recon planes that are still in the storm. NOAA 2 has left, and the best indication that we're getting right now is that the storm has winds of at least 160 miles per hour, possibly just a little more. And estimated pressure, well, we put 911 on the graphic there. It looks like it might be closer to 913. So somewhere in that ballpark anyway, which is obviously very powerful, especially for the Atlantic. It's just about a handful of millibars off our estimated intensity for Hurricane Dorian. Which has been compared a couple of times. We have it at 908 on the Force 13 analysis. So there we are.
Very interesting.
Here's the key messages from the National Hurricane Center. Do not venture out of your safe shelter, Jamaica. Catastrophic and life-threatening flash flooding and numerous landslides are likely today through Tuesday. Destructive winds, especially in the mountains, will begin by this evening, leading to extensive infrastructural damage, long-lasting power and communication outages, and isolated communities. Life-threatening storm surge and damaging waves expected along the southern coast through Tuesday. For Haiti, For Haiti and the Dominican Republic, catastrophic and life-threatening flash flooding and landslides expected across southwestern Haiti and southern portions of the Dominican Republic through midweek. In Haiti, extensive infrastructural damage and isolation of communities is likely. Tropical storm conditions expected late Tuesday and Wednesday. Eastern Cuba, heavy rainfall with life-threatening and potentially catastrophic flash flooding and landslides expected beginning today. Life-threatening storm surge and damaging winds expected late Tuesday and Tuesday night. Operations should be rushed to completion. Southeast Bahamas and the Turks and Caicos Islands, and by the way, rainfall chart on the right-hand side there, still in the 20 to 30 inch range. Hurricane conditions, life-threatening storm surge and heavy rainfall possible on Wednesday. Residents should follow advice given by local officials. Be sure to have preparations complete by Tuesday night. That's the latest for that region. I think Blaine's tracking some planes right now.
Yep. I have the two planes that you mentioned here. You can see NOAA.
NOAA 2, or NOAA 4-2 as it is on there.
Is going back to, where's Lakeland? Where would that be?
Lakeland's in Florida.
Oh yeah, well that makes sense. Yeah, they're going back to Lakeland right now, but they have finished their mission.
They have 308 on the northeastern side.
Yeah, definitely.
Or northern side. Yep, there they are. Teal 76.
If you guys want to track it, it's #1 track worldwide right now.
So we'll be able to see whether they make that turn shortly, whether they might go for a north to south pass, or whether they might just do another northwest to southeast. Do a like-for-like comparison. So we'll see what they do. But that is now the only plane in the storm.
I am going to go once we get past that, if that's okay.
Yeah. All right then. So, Jack, looks like we're having a bit of a jog towards the southwest right now again.
Well, it looks like it. But that probably won't affect much in terms of how Jamaica's going to be affected, apart from where it makes landfall, because either way, the storm's still going to just be catastrophic for the region anyway. Looks like. And I've got rainfall. I just felt like putting out there, just in case anyone wanted to look at it. And
oh, I just pressed the wrong button. Yeah, I mean that is doesn't tell us a huge amount about how much rain's actually falling in there. If I may, Jack, you may want to navigate to the hydro estimator rainfall, which will display satellite estimates of what the rain rate is every 15 minutes. You'll need to use the search bar, and that might be interesting if it's working. It doesn't always work. Oh, there it is right now. So this is just satellite, so it's quite crude. Actually indicating that the southern side there is producing the most rainfall, about 50 millimeters per hour in that black area. Or more, 60 actually.
Yeah.
But on most sides of the eye wall there were about 40 millimeters of rain per hour. That's the sort of thing you'll be looking at when the actual main bulk of the storm arrives. Over Jamaica there, we're looking at about 10, maybe a little over 10 in a few spots, millimeters per hour, all along the southern periphery there. So that, of course, that is just a satellite estimate, though. It is often used just as a little guide rather than actual numbers.
Nathan, about the you said earlier you couldn't get data from the airports, right?
Or at least there's a temporary outage. I don't have any info.
Because I'm getting some data here. I don't know what your data was earlier, but I'm getting 100 degree winds coming from 100 degrees at 25 knots at Norman Manley right now.
Okay, so yep, that seems to make sense.
Yeah.
Around 30-mile-an-hour winds there. It was more yesterday, obviously when the storm was a little bit closer at its closest point. They were briefly getting tropical storm force winds, 39 miles per hour, gusting to around 46. Montego Bay peaked at about 41 miles per hour yesterday in terms of gusts. I don't know if you've got any more info on that now.
It's 14 knots currently. Also from
so currently they're getting sustained winds of about nearly 20 miles per hour. So, okay.
Yeah.
All right. At this point, I guess we'll see if we can take some comments and questions. Start your message with Force 13 all in text during our live stream. We may be here for a while today. So, obviously, we'll take those if there's any, as long as the questions aren't really silly like some of them were last night. People want us to check data. Which data? And Sims ADT. Well, I'm sure ADT is saying a lot of things about this storm right now. I know it was around 8.2 raw yesterday. It's actually 7.9 final right now. Oh my gosh. So Sims ADT reckons that Melissa is 200 miles per hour. And I guess that's what people were alluding to earlier when they were talking about people scaremongering about how this storm is 200 miles an hour sustained winds. Well, it isn't. That is a satellite estimate, which I have big questions about, because our own independent satellite estimates are giving this storm raw numbers of 180 miles per hour, although it would be a little bit lower than that anyway on a final number. But all of that is completely irrelevant when we've got recon data from the planes in the storm right now. There is nothing better than actually being in the storm to get that data. Satellites can only tell you so much, and quite often, or at least on some occasions, it can be completely wrong, as has been the case during the whole life of Melissa so far. So people who are dining out on all of that satellite data, most of it during this storm so far has been wrong. So still, it's the only thing that we can really look at, but that obviously is a crazy number from the Sims ADT. Let's check NOAA ADT as well, though, just to see a cross-check whether they're saying anything similar, because that would be interesting if they were also going for it. But they are lower. They're at T7.5, for those who understand that, which is still really powerful. And actually, on some of that, they're actually going raw 170 knots as well. So actually, that's pretty crazy. Satellite estimates are really going off the deep end right now. But as mentioned, the recon data is king, and until we get... I certainly see there's a potential for that, though. When we saw a recon drop sond earlier, I think in one of the quadrants, having a wind gust of 230 miles per hour at around 100 meters. When you see things like that, then that really is showing potential there. If those winds get down much further and start to sustain themselves, then you are looking at something that supports that satellite estimate. But at the moment, and I still have question marks about those satellite estimates anyway, because I think that's jumping it a little bit. But either way, it is a Category 5 storm quite clearly, and yes, if I was using just satellite, we'd be going a fair bit higher than the 160 mile per hour estimate. Some comments here. Storm looks to be holding intensity right now. Yes, pressure doesn't seem to have changed much from those last recon passes, around the 910 to 915 range. Is it possible for Melissa to keep going west and scrape Jamaica? It is. About 3 or 4 GEFS ensembles actually have the storm not making landfall in Jamaica at all, although just off the western tip, still delivering hurricane-force winds to that area. Obviously, it would then go to Cuba, which would therefore probably receive a much stronger landfall than what they would have done as well. Apparently, eye temperature is now north of 22 degrees Celsius. I will get some info on that shortly, and we'll take a look at models in a moment too. What is the estimated surge looking like with Melissa? Well, I imagine I haven't actually seen numbers, but from a storm of this intensity, you could be looking in excess of 20 feet of storm surge. Let me just see if NHC have a number that they're expecting.
I can check right now.
Someone's glitching out in the background there. They're actually expecting much less than that, 9 to 13 feet. is what the National Hurricane Center are expecting. So I misspoke there with 20. Quite often when it's a storm that's hitting more lower lying land at this intensity, you can get a storm surge much higher. I suppose with the terrain of Jamaica, that sort of mitigates the storm surge a little bit, but still 9 to 13 feet above ground level, near and to the east of where the center of Melissa makes landfall. And Cuba, potentially 6 to 9 feet, according to the National Hurricane Center as well.
I just saw the United States Air Force flight just vanished off of flight radar, so that's
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah. We're also joined by Gio right now as well. Welcome aboard.
Hello.
Your thoughts on Melissa right now? Extremely powerful. Is it one of the strongest storms you've seen here in this area?
Yeah, I think so. There's a lot of people in danger. I think everyone should be really careful and take shelter as soon as possible.
Ow.
Well, of course, with the wording, people should have done that by now. But obviously, it's a very dangerous situation. But I must say, with this continued movement westwards, it is just letting people breathe just a tiny bit in eastern parts of Jamaica, where it doesn't look like they're going to get a Category 4 landfall anymore in Kingston. They may still get hurricane force winds, but at least now it is starting to look like they will not get the worst of the storm. But it is looking like western Jamaica is going to receive potentially a Category 5 landfall. That's tomorrow. Timing is still a bit up in the air because if it is doing a little southward jog right now, that's delaying things a bit more. And if it does continue to dither and delay, we may be trending towards Tuesday afternoon. Still at the moment, it's Tuesday morning that we're expecting this landfall. What is the eye diameter? Well, we've been looking at lots of satellite imagery that shows a decent sized eye. When you actually back out a bit and you look at this imagery from the Force 13 website, it is quite a small eye. Exactly how wide it is, I'm about to get a read. Certainly from satellite estimates, the eye diameter is something like 8 or 9 miles.
I'm going to go. Stay safe out there, everyone, and continue listening here with Force 13 for more updates. Stay safe.
Thanks
everyone.
for joining us, Blaine.
My pleasure.
Now let's talk to Cesar if we can. Are you there right now?
Hello, yes, can you hear me?
Yes, good morning to you.
Excellent.
Of course, you did a couple of our updates for Melissa whilst it was strengthening. How are you feeling about what we're seeing right now?
Well, definitely, I don't know if surprised is the correct term to put on this storm because we were actually expecting certain kind of intensity since the beginning. The actual incognita about this system was about its motion speed and where it's going to be moving. And well, the storm has been really erratic during the last days until now. That has been moving
Yeah.
generally to the west, extremely slow though. But of course, it's really concerning. I mean, we've never seen uh, a hurricane threatening Jamaica directly since a long time ago. Of course, we had Hurricane Beryl crossing the island nearby the island as a Category 4. Fortunately, it missed the island directly, but this thing it's another scenario, totally different, totally. So I just hope that Jamaica are getting well prepared. Of course, as you said just earlier, Nathan, time it's key right now, and officially according to the records, the last well, the most intense hurricane to ever strike Jamaica directly was Gilbert back in 1988. So it was 37 years ago, and it was a strengthening Category 3. Sorry, was a high-end Category 3
Yeah,
hurricane.
borderline 3-4 when it hit Jamaica, and is still, I think, regarded as one of the most destructive storms in Jamaican history. If this storm continues the way it is, it's going to be an order of magnitude above Gilbert in terms of its strength and impact potential.
Absolutely. What I'm actually thinking is even that Kingston apparently is going to miss the worst part of the storm. Do you think still the destruction scale is going to be similar or even higher than Gilbert?
It's a tough question. The real key now is what happens next. Obviously, when we look back at this graphic that we're looking at, so that I can draw on it. So we've still got, obviously the storm is all. Oh, let's just go to a little bit of an older image so that we can still see Jamaica properly there. So storm's current position is somewhere around here now, and obviously the model's projections pretty much going for some variation of this. Either it does it like that, or it does a sharper turn and goes up that way, or it just sails in, which is least likely at this point. But this area is now generally the expected area of the landfall. So could there still be some wriggle room of the storm actually going a little bit further towards the east? It would seem unlikely, but something that we can't completely rule out. The trend at the moment continues to be west, and some ensembles actually have the storm going along this route, which obviously is it just along that western tip. Worst case scenario for Kingston would be obviously the storm moving further east than expected from this point forward and end up going that way and potentially delivering some really strong Category 3 winds to that area. But I would say the most likely scenario is obviously what is being forecasted by the NHC and most of the models, which is somewhere around here now, which is obviously not very good for places further west, Montego Bay included. But for Kingston, that would mean probably barely hurricane force winds in this area, which is still bad, but certainly 80 mile per hour winds compared to 160 miles per hour winds is obviously a massive gulf of difference.
Totally it is, but man, I mean,
Yeah.
the Atlantic hurricanes recently, just looking back in the last 10 years, have been breaking numerous landfall records in practically in the different islands in the Caribbean. We saw Hurricane Matthew breaking records. We saw Hurricane Maria. Unfortunately, we saw um,
Oh,
well
don't. There's
many.
a long list in the last 10 years.
Absolutely. I mean, like there's like a checklist in the Atlantic basin to strike every island in the Caribbean as a Category 5 storm. I
Oh,
mean,
man.
it's really crazy how, unfortunately, recently we've seen these kind of natural disasters and humanitarian crisis. So also to point out that 2025, despite not being the most of the of active seasons, still managed to produce three Category 5 hurricanes, which is the second most higher season to produce these kind of storms, just behind the 2005. So also, well, the Caribbean Sea has been completely inactive during the season
Well, that's it.
until this
So
year.
much energy untapped. I've mentioned it several times throughout the year on the Tropical Weather Bulletin that those sea surface temperatures have just been completely left alone all season.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. So
All this
ma-
untapped energy. Just
exactly all the energy accumulated there, and of course it releases as a storm like that, 160 miles per hour, still strengthening, and man, moving extremely slow as
Yeah,
well.
still slow.
Yes.
Something that we haven't actually mentioned up to this point, Geo, you posted a couple of images earlier. We're showing one of them right now about lightning in the eye, and that seemed to start pretty randomly overnight, and there's been a lot of it since, hasn't there?
Yep, it's been constantly lightning in the eyeball, and it doesn't seem to stop. So I'm expecting the storm to get stronger.
And usually when we look at lightning in the eye wall, it is a sign of one of those other signs of a strengthening storm, even at this point. Interesting to keep looking at that satellite imagery right now. Just that little bend towards the south in those last few frames, probably about 30-minute period there. At this very second, it is moving south. But it looks like it's going to be a bit of a loop, very tight loop, and then back towards the northwest, I imagine, pretty shortly. We're still waiting to hear more from Recon. AF308 are between passes right now. They'll be flying into the storm. They're doing northwest to southeast by the looks of things again in a few moments. So in about hopefully 20 to 25 minutes, we should have some new Recon data to see whether that pressure has dropped any further. It looked like it was holding steady again in the lower 910s, and whether we've actually seen any stronger winds to justify something more than 160 miles per hour, which is what satellite estimates are definitely supporting. Well, some people earlier in the comments were desperate to look at models. They become increasingly pointless as this storm wears on because the uncertainty is decreasing. We're getting more confident in where the storm is going to go, but we'll humor people and show the models anyway. Some of those hurricane models then, and I suppose it still may be useful to see what kind of peak intensity it gets. Well, the HWRF, first of all, actually initializes the storm pretty well here, although that's a little while ago. Well, around 913 millibars, 160 miles per hour, 3 hours ago, but decent initialization. Further strengthening down to 908 millibars, and then curving into Jamaica. Does weaken before landfall. It's a mid-range category 4 by the time it gets there. As you can see, that similar place that we've been talking about. Montego Bay getting quite close to the eye there as well. Weakens to a category 3, still a category 3 there, and re-strengthens just a tad before it reaches the coast of Cuba, very close to Santiago de Cuba. Northeastward movement on towards the southeasternmost islands of the Bahamas. Turks and Caicos get away with just tropical storm force winds for a brief time, and then continuing on, Bermuda close, but the storm looks like it actually really struggles by that point, and they don't get any storm force winds. That's the HWRF. These models are all going to show slightly different scenarios. The HMON then, initializing the storm at 911 millibars and a wind of 175 miles per hour, and further strengthening there down to a 905 millibar peak. And again weakening a bit before landfall, but still near category 5 status when it makes landfall in Jamaica. Again, similar spot near Treasure Beach, I think that still is there. Northeastwards, Cat 2 for Cuba, and then continuing as a category 1 through the southeastern Bahamas, and tropical storm force winds for Bermuda as well. Now the HAFS model, which everyone seems to love for some reason, initializing the storm at 175 mile per hour winds and a pressure of 922 millibars, so it's initialized the storm a bit strong on that wind speed. And then the pressure goes right down to 906 from that position, and a peak wind speed of 190 miles per hour. Cannot be ruled out. Seriously, cannot be fully ruled out. and then slight weakening before landfall in the 910s, and probably 175 to 180 miles per hour at landfall. The way the storm is looking, if it does continue to improve. Not impossible.
I mean, the storm actually looks extremely healthy, that easily can support at least 175 at any moment.
It does on satellite estimates alone, just the Recon haven't been finding it. That's the whole story of this storm since it's been getting stronger.
The incognita about this. I mean, sometimes the presentation it's better than the tools are telling us, as the Hurricane aircraft is well flying under the eye, well over the eye or inside the eye.
Anyways, there, just want to finish this off. Cat 3 for Cuba, continuing on through the southeastern Bahamas. Again, Cat 2 there this time. Bermuda, hurricane force winds. So still watching out for that as well. HEFSB, which can sometimes be even worse. Initializing the storm at 918 millibars and pretty much 165 mile per hour winds. Actually stalling a bit there, doing that loop that we're talking about. And then strengthening again. That's the key here, I think. Some models have strengthening like soon, which means that it will be weakening by the time it makes landfall. The HEFSB is the most different one because it only starts re-strengthening or strengthening again when it is making that final approach to Jamaica, which means that it hits at peak intensity or near peak intensity. There is the peak, 911 millibars, 193 miles per hour. Landfall there in the 910s, winds around 180 miles per hour. And then continuing on, Cat 4 on the other side of Jamaica, still Cat 4 for Cuba. And then, so this is the most aggressive model, clearly. And then on to the Bahamas, still a Cat 1 there actually. And then on to Bermuda. Actually strengthens again here to Cat 4 status, oh my god. Cat 4 again over the open Atlantic briefly, and then weakens a little bit, still a Cat 3 by the time it hits Bermuda. HAFSB is really pulling out all the stops for Melissa. I would say that is far-fetched. And finally, the Euro, which we'll look at just for the track element here, because it's not that good with the intensity resolution. Just look at the track, and that is, again, yeah, very similar location. And continuing northeastwards again, maybe a little bit further west than the other models. Yeah, oh it is, because Bermuda is on the eastern side of the storm, whereas in all the other solutions that we've just seen, it's on the western side. Potentially hurricane force winds there too for Bermuda from the Euro. And we'll have a look at the GFS in a little bit as well. Gee, well, that was a lot to go through, wasn't it? But we'll talk about all of that in a little while. Well, we're going to collect our thoughts here and go for a little break. We'll be back with another hour of coverage on this storm in a few moments' time. We're waiting for more recon data, where it's still looking very interesting. At the moment, it supports at least 160 mile per hour winds. And just looking at some other messages there as well. Something that we might have to discuss on the other side of this break from Geo there. So we'll leave it at that right now. We'll be back in a few moments' time to gather our thoughts and see if there's any more news to bring to you. This is Hurricane Melissa, powerful Category 5, expected to deliver catastrophic impacts to Jamaica. We'll be back in a few minutes. Live coverage will continue in a moment. You're watching Force 13's live streaming service. One of the most impressive storms that we've seen in a while. Once again here, Hurricane Melissa, Category 5, winds of at least 160 miles per hour, possibly stronger, and a pressure in the lower 910s at this time. Catastrophic impacts expected when it arrives in western Jamaica tomorrow. Our second hour of coverage as we continue to watch it here on satellite imagery. And of course, Recon are in and around the storm still at this point as well. AF308. We should be hearing more from them soon, hopefully. I don't know if they're just about to do a northwest to southeast pass, but we'll find out soon. Really looking very impressive on visible once again, as we know, as we've been following. And on the infrared, it's also there too. Satellite estimates are extremely high for this storm right now, with around 180 miles per hour being the benchmark. However, Recon planes have not yet found those kind of winds whilst they've been flying through, although some interesting readouts on dropson data in various parts of the eye wall, including one that I saw earlier of around 230 mile an hour winds at 100 meters. That was a gust. So certainly quite impressive numbers that may continue to be filtering down towards the surface. My name is Nathan Foy in the studio once again, and we're joined by most of the people that we saw in the last hour. We've got JJ, Cesar, Gio, and this time we've also got Parker with us as well. Hello to all of you. Well, they're all there somewhere. Oh, hello.
Hello, hello.
Hello.
Yeah,
Hi.
everyone
Sorry.
just died off there for a second. And obviously, viewers watching as well, comments and questions, feel free to send them in. We'll do our best to get on top of them, especially if they're important queries. And if you are in the area, and it is safe to do so, please let us know what your conditions are right now. We're talking mainly about Jamaica. In most places, conditions are still relatively stable, but obviously the storm is going to start to draw in soon. It is still around 170 kilometers offshore, which has been pretty much the number it's been for about a day and a half now. So it is keeping its distance so far, but obviously it is inevitable and a matter of time until it does properly arrive. We expect that is going to be during the morning hours of Tuesday, possibly after dawn. And if it does keep stalling the way it's doing right now and taking this southerly jog, that might delay it a little bit further as well. I don't know if I cut you off at the end of that last hour, Cesar. Did you have anything else you wanted to add?
Well,
I just want to jump.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
Go for it, Parker.
Okay. So right now we're sitting at about 907 millibars. I just want to say that this is making a run for sub 900. This is probably one of the world's most powerful hurricanes we can ever see. Seeing the track that it's supposed to take and the intensity it is already compared to what they forecasted, Jamaica is not. It's not going to be pretty, and I don't want to know what it's going to look like Friday into Saturday, but time will only tell. If you're there, please do what officials say. Everyone will be praying for everybody out there because this is worst case scenario.
AF308 is heading in from the northwest, so we're going to have another recon pass in the next 15 minutes here. So we'll see how and if the situation has changed. I think we are. I don't know if you guys are expecting it, but I think we're expecting to see a little bit more strengthening on this next pass.
Up slightly.
So we're going to wait to see what happens with that. That's going to be the main part of this hour, I think. We'll also take a look at what the GFS has in store for all systems around the world right now. Of course, if you've not been paying attention, which is truly understandable, there has been a new storm developing in the Bay of Bengal near India, Cyclone Mantha. Winds there around 50 miles per hour right now, and is likely to remain weak to moderate tropical storm for the eastern coast of India. That is the only other storm active in the world right now. Well, of course, we've got Sonia as well in the eastern Pacific, which is struggling, and the less said about that, the better, I think, staying out to sea, far away from anyone. So, what winds have been recorded so far? That was a comment that we've just received. So, flight level winds from Recon so far have received maximums around 155 knots, maybe a slight bit higher, which would support 160 to 165 miles per hour on the ground. But some drops on data have been recording some pretty strong winds there as well, which obviously they're gusts, but I think we could be seeing, it, in my opinion, 180 miles an hour plus based on some of the drops on data if it mixes down to the ground in the next 24 hours. And that is what some models are saying.
And it is not impossible to think that just looking at again, the current aspect of the storm and how the conditions actually are for the storm as well, still quite pretty much favorable to continue to develop. There's no idle replacement cycle yet for or any kind of sign
Yep.
that is going to occur yet.
Now
So
that's
this
one
is
thing that
another,
could happen, but like you say, no sign of it.
which is quite rare. Usually, as soon as a hurricane gets category 3 or more, soon afterwards gets an idle replacement cycle. Not the case with Melissa. And I mean, occurs or it doesn't occur, the idle replacement cycle soon. The hurricane still is gonna be really intense. As I was saying earlier, the conditions in the atmosphere are pretty well. The sea surface temperature is 29 Celsius, pretty much good enough to sustain such storm of that intensity. So my goodness, this is really a concerning situation for Jamaica, something that probably they've never saw in its history, in the meteorological history, and not and something similar. The closest storm to get that kind of certain possible impacts was Gilbert 37 years ago. So definitely, it's something that we are seeing history in the making in the meteorological books. So damn it. So hopefully Jamaican people are getting really well prepared for the worst on these kind of situations.
JJ showing us a wide shot of the storm right now and really shows that it is actually relatively small when we're talking hurricanes. Certainly the core of it is. But what's also a point with that, Cesar, the wind field, the eye wall, the maximum winds within the eye wall are over such a short distance, just a few miles, and it's clearly a very, very robust, strong, powerful eye wall, and perhaps it is resistant to eye wall replacement cycles at the moment.
I mean, regarding the idle replacement cycle, if that happens, of course the storm size will increase and its wind field is gonna increase as well, which also for Jamaica, since it's a small island, it's not good news at all. But on the other hand, it will weaken the storm a little bit. So putting that in comparison, I don't really know how this is going to be like better for the island.
Yeah.
So it's a really powerful storm, and at this kind of and sorry, at this point, um, anything could happen. So just hopefully Jamaica are really well prepared, and hopefully anything well something hopefully something strange happens to Melissa just to reduce the most of the effects that possibly they're gonna receive after that.
Yeah, hopeful. Well, look at the water vaporimetry. I mean, we've not shown this yet, but I imagine this might be instilling some kind of response in people when you look at just how incredibly dry that the eye of this storm is. And usually they're dry anyway. It's just the satellite appearance and how much the eye is cleared out, all of even the small wispier clouds that are in deep inside the eye of the storm. It is cleared out like few storms ever can clear out, and looking really impeccable there on this imagery. Just going to leave it on there for a second whilst I'm going to try and source a latest eye temperature check. I imagine we may have seen even more of an improvement. Extremely warm eye, that is for sure. And latest is
Should be 23 Celsius, isn't it?
somewhere near there, around 22, 23 degrees. So still very much as it has been. which is obviously an improvement upon last night. And of course, Recon indicated winds have been getting better as well. We'll be hearing soon from AF308. They're nearly there now. And again, seeing signs of just how small that inner wind field is, because they're just a few miles away and, well, probably about, I'm trying to figure that out, maybe 15 miles from the center of the eye, and they're only getting 80 mile an hour winds at flight level. Anytime now, they're just going to get that massive jump in winds again, and we'll see what they come up with for that northwestern side. Last time they went through the northwestern side, can't remember what they got actually on that side. I think that it would have been 150 knots. And of course, we'll get some pressure estimates too when they pass through. Next data drop will be in about 5 to 10 minutes. So we'll see what we get. Extremely dangerous storm right now. If you've not seen the key messages, well, here they are. Do not venture out of your safe shelter in Jamaica. Catastrophic and life-threatening flash flooding and numerous landslides likely today through Tuesday. Destructive winds, especially in the mountains, will begin by this evening, leading to extensive infrastructural damage, long-lasting power and communication outages, and isolated communities. Life-threatening storm surge and damaging waves are expected along the southern coast through Tuesday. They're expecting 9 to 13 feet of storm surge. Haiti and the Dominican Republic, catastrophic and life-threatening flash flooding and landslides expected across southwestern Haiti and southern portions of the Dominican Republic through midweek. Extensive infrastructural damage and isolation of communities likely in Haiti. Tropical storm conditions are expected late Tuesday and Wednesday. Eastern Cuba, heavy rainfall with life-threatening and potentially catastrophic flash flooding and landslides are expected beginning today. Life-threatening storm surge and damaging winds are expected late Tuesday and Tuesday night. Preparations rush to completion. And still real question marks about that Cuban landfall, because if the storm does continue pivoting a bit further west and clipping the western coast of Jamaica, that means that we could be seeing a Category 4 for Cuba. And for the southeast Bahamas and Turks and Caicos Islands, hurricane conditions, life-threatening storm surge and heavy rainfall possible on Wednesday. Residents should follow advice given by local officials and be sure to have preparations complete by Tuesday night. That's all the latest there from the National Hurricane Center regarding key messages. There's the latest forecast cone. Hurricane warnings obviously for Jamaica and for several provinces in Cuba. Those would be Granma, Santiago de Cuba, Guantanamo and Holguin. Hurricane watch for southeastern and central Bahamas and the Turks and Caicos Islands, and a tropical storm warning for Haiti and the Cuban province of Las Tunas. Currently, right now, this storm's center is 170 kilometers away from Treasure Beach, Jamaica. And still looking pretty sublime on that satellite imagery. No signs of any real failure, which is actually different to what we were looking at on yesterday's stream, where it looked like the maybe a little bit of wind shear or dry air getting in on that western side last night. At this point, it looks like there are no real weak points.
Nope.
Well, east and west side there, you just see maybe little gaps there, but that really is nitpicking. Very impressive appearance on this storm, clearly a Category 5 appearance and more when we look at satellite. But what counts is what we're finding from the Recon flights. Well, not got any more of that just yet, so I'll open the floor to the rest of the team. Anyone noticing anything right now that you want to talk about? Oh, they're stunned.
That's the magnitude
Okay.
of how we
Okay.
are right now.
I have
Speechless.
some news. Right now, Teal 76, they're inside. They're doing a couple drop zones inside the eye. They're doing complete 360s right now.
Yeah.
Which that is very rare to see inside an eye of a hurricane from the hurricane hunters.
I don't know. They've done it a couple of times in recent passes.
Well, I'm talking about with like most hurricanes and stuff, you'll get just a straight pass. But if it's the
Yep.
strongest of the strongest, then they might do this. And that's to either avoid mesovortexes or any of that sort.
And with the eye only being around 8 or 9 miles wide, some tight turns I imagine going on in there.
Yeah.
In a second, we'll bring to you the GFS model data for all storms around the world. Obviously, we'll show Melissa as well. That might be an interesting little segment. I'm just waiting for it all to load in though first. So we're just at a small impasse right now until we get some new data. Feel free to send in comments and questions. Start your message with Force 13 all in text. With the rate of comments coming in there, that's probably a wise thing to do because they're just flying past me. Devon says, this hurricane season, what names do we think will be retired? Well, we don't really go into the business of speculating about that. I guess we'll just wait and find out. ARC 2025, we're going to get onto that. So just hang on a minute. And what was the warmest eye in the Atlantic? Question mark. What was the warmest eye in the Atlantic?
That's a good question.
I actually don't know.
Well,
That's a great
if we speculate based on the strongest storms we've seen in the Atlantic recently, well, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if Dorian or Wilma or
No, it's not Dorian. This is a warmer eye than Dorian.
It is.
So I just did a little bit of research, and they are saying it was Hurricane Aaron and Hurricane Wilma.
Aaron.
Those two have the warmest eyes, of about 21 to 22. We saw 23.
well,
Yeah.
Melissa's
This
23,
morning.
yes.
Of course, it
This
depends
will-
how
at
it's
this might
measured
be
as well. I
record,
mean,
actually.
are we talking just satellite based or recon observations, etc.? But I think with satellites, we're gonna see eyes gradually get warmer as resolution continues to improve.
But even then, still not still a very fair statement to say that Melissa has
Yeah.
one of the warmest eyes
Oh yeah.
you could see out of Atlantic hurricane.
All right, let's take a look at what the GFS has in store for us right now then. Oh dear. Well, first of all, the initialization is pretty atrocious. Initializing the storm with winds of 87 miles per hour. It is obviously a lot stronger than that.
When is it not?
Yeah, the GFS is known for this, along with the European model as well. Has that been annoying everyone else? My webcam has just been a few pixels too high and I've been floating. Okay, that's better. So the GFS model then forecast for the next few days. So landfall location is pretty much in line with what all the other models are saying, all around this area, which, if I'm not mistaken, is still, let me just make sure. Oh, this is the White House area. So most of the models are saying that between Treasure Beach and Savannah Lamar. Pretty much there's decent model consensus for the landfall location being near there. Of course, there is still plenty of wriggle room with systems potentially going west or east. Hurricane force wind field there. Obviously, if the storm did go further east, then you would see those strong winds over here. If it was further west, maybe that's an extreme, but over here, you would only see, that would be a better case scenario for eastern Jamaica, obviously, if it was over there on that left-hand side. However, hurricane force landfall, obviously it could be a category 5 by then. Also noting there with that track, pretty straight line in. No real hook about it like that. Just a real straight line in almost from this point. And then curving a little bit, landfall in Cuba, And then off it goes northeasterly. Don't look too much at the intensity, but again, strengthening again, possibly near Bermuda, passing very close, maybe some storm force winds. Post-tropical, may affect the Azores as a remnant, and that's it. Anything else in the Atlantic in that period? Why, yes, actually. The GFS is now predicting another system around the 5th of November, a tropical storm, which then moves on and hugs the coast of Honduras and into Belize, stays as a tropical storm. Interesting. So that was
okay. Speaking of the eye, I was just able to figure this out. Melissa now has the third driest eye of all time, drier than Wilma. Napartak, I think is how I say it.
Attack, yeah.
Valian? I don't know. These are all other ones. Patricia, and then the that monster typhoon we had out west.
Which one?
Oh my god. I butcher all these names.
It's got a very dry eye, basically, is what it's telling
the
us.
third driest eye of all time.
I'm seeing reports of 909.5 as well. I just need to verify that, though.
There were extrapolated numbers near there earlier.
Yes.
We had 907 extra earlier, but...
Oh, jeez. Okay.
Just going through this as quickly as we can. This is Sonia dying off quite quickly as it continues out to sea. Nothing else in the Eastern Pacific. Westpac, we've given up on that system forming in the South China Sea, but there is a potential big typhoon or little typhoon on the way through the Philippine Sea. Latest GFS has it going even further south than what it had been saying before, and is actually going for pretty much Tacloban there and through the rest of the Central Visayas region as a typhoon, and strengthening again in the South China Sea on the other side. And then there's another storm forming there near Guam, moving up towards the north. Very large and disorganized storm. That does become a typhoon right up there as well, goodness me, and tries to become a major up there. Oh my gosh, off it goes northeastwards, it dies off. Maybe a little bit of something right at the end of that loop there, day 16. Mantha, this is the active tropical storm right now in the Indian Ocean off the east coast of India, and then it will move inland over the Andhra Pradesh region in the next 36 hours, maybe even less than that. And then move inland. 50 miles per hour right now, shouldn't get much stronger. And then on the left hand side, got another system there, extremely broad, trying to develop. Will it succeed? It's a question that we've been asking for a week and a half now, and the answer looks like it might still be no. Southern hemisphere, yes, in the long range it is predicting another storm. That would be number 5 down there, and that would be in the second week of November, the first one to actually form at the correct time, but the 5th one already, if that actually happens. Australian region, nothing to talk about here. South Pacific, also blank, and that's it really. We're not going to look at those unusual locations, but let's just quickly take a look at rainfall for that 7-day period here. Again, and still looking at relatively high numbers, not as high as they used to be, but still pretty high numbers. 24 inches roughly. Montego Bay is pretty much the highest there, so we're talking about 600 millimeters of rain for wide swathes of Jamaica. For Kingston, maybe 10 inches. This is on top of anything that's already fallen so far. Maybe 10 inches, 250 millimeters. Area around Santiago de Cuba, again, looking at maybe 24 inches, 600 millimeters. Towards Guantanamo, maybe around 10 inches, 250 millimeters. And then moving through some of the southeastern Bahamas, potential for 10 inches. And if the storm did track closer to Bermuda, we could be looking at potentially 8 inches there. That concludes the models as quick as I could there, because I know everyone is wanting to talk about a lot of things, and of course we are on the cusp of getting some new recon data. Anything anyone's got for us right now?
We got that data, by the way.
So they've just gone through.
Yep.
Extrapolated 909.5 as Christian was just saying before. Just looking to see what those maximum winds were. Ooh, a little less on that northwestern side. Just shy of 150 knots. Want to see what they get on that southeastern side. once they get properly into that.
This is the latest VDM, by the way. I don't know if y'all saw this.
Tell us, please.
So it says location 16.3 north, 78.09 west. They did not have a maximum established surface wind. Maximum flight level wind was 153 knots. Closed eyeball, circular diameter 10 nautical miles. Eye temp is 7 degrees Celsius. That's the
7?
temperature outside the eye.
Oh.
Oh, sorry. And then the inside the eye is 25 degrees Celsius right
Yeah.
now. And then they marked it as 907, but that was egg strap from earlier, but I'm still curious about that.
Yeah, interesting.
As to why they would release a VDM with that 907.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. We're just looking at a little loop here as well that Geo sent in. Again, showing the lightning proportion there. All of those little white dots are lightning flashes in the eye over the course of the last 4 hours or so. You can also really look at how that storm has been progressing movement-wise during that period too, those big wobbles that it's been doing.
Yep.
So,
But basically really slow and kind of a bit of southwestwards or west southwestwards a little bit. I don't know if it's about the wobbling behavior, but
it wobbled south, definitely.
Yep.
yeah, that storm is really a headache. Absolutely a headache.
Definitely a wobble to the south. Yeah.
Look
And
how
I just want to
impressive
say
that
real
thing
quick,
looks.
isn't this pretty impressive that most of the models and stuff, the forecast tracks and everything, was predicted by AI before all models caught on?
Oh,
And the
dreadful, isn't it?
NHC was even using AI for their forecast with this one.
Oh, please.
Oh dear.
So next year they'll be using
And
AI to write their advisories.
I mean, so far this has been nearly spot on with it, so I'm pretty impressed. AI's come a long way, so I'm scared to see what it'll do next year.
Look at
I
the
mean, the next
motion
thing
of
they will
the
do
storm.
is it's like creating hurricanes by AI.
No.
No.
No. We already have AI gets going for that.
Oh, don't.
Oh no, don't.
That's giving me
Don't.
end of year vibes. Something to look forward to there. Anyways, please do. The storm really stalling out right now as we look at it on this real close-up imagery. It's just really encapsulating to look at this right now. Looks
The
to
thing
me
is,
as
though, the
though maybe
longer-
the eye's shrinking just a tad as well.
The thing is, though, like, isn't it? The longer this thing stays out to sea, the more time it has to strengthen, which
Yeah.
not good.
Pretty much.
And it's been crawling for its entire track. I mean, last night it was moving west at 5 miles an hour. Now it's moving west at 3 miles an hour. It is in no rush to make that northwards turn. And with those sea surface temperatures, with that ocean heat content that has not been even tapped for the entire season, it's just been the perfect fuel for a storm like this to do what it's been doing. And not looking like we're going to see much change.
That's how far it's moved in 4 hours. 15 miles.
I've walked more than in a day than the storm's moved.
I've walked more in this in this year, according to my watch.
Oh my gosh. So,
Yeah.
15 miles is the movement in 4 hours there. And it was moving quicker at the start of that 4-hour period. So
it's really slowing down.
Oh, we got some new stuff.
It's done a proper storm right now.
Looks
What was
like
that,
the
advisory 12?
southeastern quadrant has strengthened.
Oh.
Has it?
Has it?
I think so.
Okay,
Oh,
interesting.
please.
Where are you getting that from?
got my latest live discussion post. But you should really wait for drop sound and then
Oh, I
talk.
see. Yeah. No, you're right. Something like 155 knots on the
56.
southeast. 156.
Yeah, I think it's 156
156.
flight level.
So again, those are pretty much the highest numbers alongside the highest numbers that we've seen from Recon flight level winds so far. Still 160 to 165 that would correlate to in terms of on the ground winds. Itching to find out what that drops on data is going to say once we get info about
Waiting with
the
bated
drops
breath.
that they did in the eye there. That's AF308 that are in the storm right now. So we're going to keep waiting on that. We're probably going to finish at the end of this hour. It's still quite a long time before the storm makes landfall. I don't think we're going to be here to talk about it forever before going over old ground too much. We sort of like to keep our streams fresh and useful. But obviously we're going to have more live updates later today and tonight with the Tropical Weather Bulletin live as well at the usual time, 8 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. But we're still going for the rest of the hour here. Christian, what did you want to say?
When is landfall expected at this time?
Yeah, well, questions there because movement's unpredictable right now. It should be around daybreak or a little after daybreak tomorrow morning. But if it's stalling a bit more than expected, then it could be slowly getting up towards late morning.
This thing's got to get its act together at this rate.
Well, don't say that. It already has. But certainly the potential for further strengthening, especially after we saw some of those drop-ons earlier with really massive wind speeds wind speed gusts in some quadrants of the eye. Such an impressive storm this is turning out to be. Still don't have that data that we're looking for yet.
Recon
The drop-on can't drop soon enough.
Geo?
Currently, the Recon planes, they're leaving earlier because the eye wall was so intense. The G-force limits got exceeded.
Okay.
Really?
I'm gonna just stop you right there. I'm gonna stop you right there. This is most likely not true. People are saying this is coming from the Weather Channel. NOAA flies at a set speed to avoid over Gs. Because that will structurally stress the aircraft out, and that can lead to bad stuff. I'm not gonna say what can happen on here, but most likely is not. I'm verifying what happened with 2 of the pilots on board that NOAA aircraft once they land. So as soon as they land soon, then I'll have updates.
Well, no doubt they'll have been having a very turbulent flight through the inner eye wall of the storm because it's so sudden, and just for a few miles there with those extremely strong winds of potentially up to 200 mile per hour gusts.
Upwards at flight level, absolutely.
Yeah, if not more actually. Because we've seen some drops on data going for up to 230 mile an hour gusts.
What?
Yeah, that was earlier.
Absolutely ridiculous.
At 100 meters off the ground.
Wow.
A very, very tight, robust core Melissa has. Those flight level gusts, like Nathan just said, up to 230 miles an hour. Well, really unheard of, especially for a storm, with surface level winds of 160 miles an hour. You would think that,
yeah, I suppose you're right
those
there.
surface level winds, you would think that, gusts, top off, especially flight level at maybe 190, maybe 200, but 230 miles an hour, absolutely unprecedented.
Sometimes gusts can be very unpredictable, though, and we try and do conversions, but it's not always accurate.
Nothing's really accurate with this one, though. I'll be
I mean,
honest.
when you think about the highest gust ever recorded in a tropical cyclone, it was a Category 4. So,
Yep.
you know, gusts can bring big surprises with them. It's not always the strongest sustained wind storms that have the strongest gusts. So, interesting nonetheless, though. I'm hoping to get some of that data soon.
You can ask that to Cyclone, what, Olivia?
That was the one, Cyclone Olivia, near Australia in 1996.
Only 29 years ago. Damn it. Already?
I think that still holds the record. I don't think it's been beaten since.
Yeah, not even.
What was the record?
Yeah, Olivia had 250 miles per hour wind gust.
Something like that, yeah.
Alright, so I will tell y'all right now that one of my good friends, he has two of his buddies are with NOAA who fly into the hurricanes. He was able to get a 360-degree camera put in there before they left, and so he got video of their entire flight, and he said he's going back to get the video footage of them leaving to see what happened.
Yeah. Interesting.
Already.
If you're wondering about satellite estimates right now, such as ADT, they're still sky high at around 195 miles per hour on both.
Yep.
On both Sims and NOAA. So that's really crazy, but obviously too crazy because it's not real. In this instance, at least. If there was no Recon to actually guide us, though, with the actual observations, imagine what intensity we would be giving this storm, because it looks the part, but when we actually get planes into the storm, it still isn't matching up. Just like yesterday when it looked like a Category 5 all day, but was still only a Category 4 on Recon data. Mm-hmm. Now it's only... Recon data is still lower than satellite estimates by 20 to 30 miles per hour.
That's just crazy.
Yeah. So, will the winds ever catch up? And if they do, then that's going to be an extraordinary intensity that we're looking at.
Well, I think it's fair to say that the pressure has done a very good job of catching up since last night. I believe when we left off stream, it was in the 930s, 933, 932, and went to 145 miles an hour. And while that intensity has slowly picked up, now we're looking at a storm, which is looking to drop into the 910s. I believe the pressure, it's 913 still, but extrapolated data suggesting a pressure of 909 millibars.
But the pressure, satellite estimate pressure is 889 right now.
889.
Obviously it isn't, but it, you know,
well, no,
satellite is just leagues ahead in the estimates there.
Still
so
a very intense storm.
So this is basically a quality over quantity storm then.
I mean, I don't really understand what you mean by that, but I guess.
Well, the satellite presentation is leagues ahead of what we're actually seeing.
Absolutely.
Even at this point, yeah. I would still say...
That's what I mean.
But I would still say that its peak appearance was actually last night. I still think that looks better than what it does now, even though the eye's slightly warmer now than it was then.
I don't think there's really an argument against it, especially with those cloud tops last night.
Yeah.
So just to clarify, it was NOAA 2 that had to leave early, right?
I don't think they had to leave early. Actually, I'm not entirely sure, but
they only did 2 passes.
NOAA 2 was mission number 19, right?
Yeah. It sounds like that was the one that had to return home early. Yeah.
And then
Live on
308
Tropics in the
is-
chat there, one of our team members saying that had to leave early and apparently needs a full inspection.
Yeah, but can we?
That is being spread. Do not trust everything exactly right now.
Yeah, I was about to say, can we
until-
verify that claim though?
Well, I mean, I would like to think that they'd give them inspections anyway, but
They do every night.
Yeah.
I'll just say that.
yeah.
Still
So,
very sus.
you know, we'll see if anything comes out of that.
I mean, so 301 are still in the storm right now.
308.
No, 301. 308. Sorry, excuse me. I'm looking at the. I don't
Sorry?
know why this website is using multiple.
301 was earlier this morning.
Yeah, so we've got because the website I'm using right now lists 301, 308, and NOAA 2. So that's what I'm getting mixed up. So yeah, 308 is the one in the storm right now. Don't exactly know where they are. They also made a center pass not too long ago, but my data still has not come through on that run.
So a comment here, what is microwave radar saying and why hasn't Melissa strengthened more in such good conditions and why hasn't it undergone more eyewall replacement cycles? My hunch there is that the current eyewall is so strong and robust right now because it's small that an eyewall replacement cycle has just not happened and may not happen for some
908,
time.
y'all.
Interesting. With regards radar and microwave, I can get microwave. I don't know if anyone in the team could get radar for us from Jamaica. Assuming that is still running, which it should be.
When are we expecting the next advisory?
That is nearly time, actually. The advisory,
11
this
a.m.
hour?
I believe.
the advisory is
Okay.
coming up very shortly.
Might see it in about 10 minutes.
They'll be waiting to get all the data they can before they do the advisory. It will be a
I would
full
love to see what the
advisory.
NHC goes with.
Oh, I'm sorry, it is out. They're going 165 miles per hour now. Pressure 908 millibars. And
908.
they're keeping 165 mile per hour for the peak. And
That's conservative, I feel like.
hold on a second. I'm trying to establish what they've done with the track.
Let me pull it up right now.
Obviously the cone won't be out yet, but yeah, so still clearly over Jamaica. I don't think much has actually changed in that track.
We have another new song? I need to figure this out.
Yeah,
There it
so they're
is.
still projecting a
Oh, yes, we do.
landfall. Just a second, they're still projecting landfall very close to Black River, Crawford, that kind of area. And that landfall would be with winds of 160 miles per hour, according to the latest National Hurricane Center forecast. We'll get that latest cone for you in a second.
I think we have a new
Wow.
song.
Yes,
Yeah.
SON data 912 millibars at 36 knots. So that might lead on to around that number. So National Hurricane Center breaking news there, running with 165 miles per hour,
165.
pressure 908 millibars. Really impressive. Another storm sinking down to below 910 millibars. And for those who are interested, according to our analysis, that does tie the storm pressure-wise with Hurricane Dorian.
Oh no.
Yep.
This is making a run for sub 900 right now.
Not much further to go.
It's really
Not
fine.
much at all. It's really making the run for it.
I think we're
Well, it's
genuinely going to see
attentively
sub
onto.
900.
I think it's going to be close.
It's still got
it's either gonna end
24
up-
hours.
I mean, well,
And the deepening,
the storm really
the
doesn't like to make up his
deepening
mind.
was- We were sitting at 4.2 millibars per every 1 hour and 16 minutes earlier this morning.
We're just waiting for the new cone to appear. Whenever it does, you will see this graphic just flicker and update. So anytime now, you'll see the 11 a.m. cone, although sometimes it can take a little while for them to update it. Let me just verify that the warnings have stayed the same. Yep, the warnings have stayed the same. The headline, Category 5 Melissa expected to turn northward later today or tonight. Catastrophic and life-threatening winds, flooding and storm surge expected on Jamaica tonight and early Tuesday. Still moving west at 3 miles per hour. Hurricane warning, Jamaica. Cuban provinces of Granma, Santiago de Cuba, Guantanamo, and Holguin. Hurricane watch for southeastern and central Bahamas and the Turks and Caicos Islands. Tropical storm warning for Haiti and the Cuban province of Las Tunas. We are expecting up to 15 to 30 inches of rainfall for portions of Jamaica, and additional rainfall of 8 to 16 inches for southern Hispaniola through Wednesday, with storm total local maxima of 40 inches possible. Catastrophic flash flooding and numerous landslides are likely. 15 to 20 inches for eastern Cuba, 4 to 8 inches for the southeastern Bahamas. Storm surge 9 to 13 feet above ground level expected for the south coast of Jamaica tonight and on Tuesday. Now expecting 7 to 11 feet of storm surge for Cuba. That's an upgrade on earlier. Near to and to the east of where the center of Melissa makes landfall. And 4 to 6 feet above normally dry ground possible in the southeastern Bahamas and Turks and Caicos on Wednesday. That's the latest from the National Hurricane Center. Do we have an updated cone? There we are. I think it's just pushed it out a little bit to the west again in the very short term before starting to career off towards the northeast through Jamaica. Landfall expected near, what was that area called again? Near Black River.
I just want to jump in real quick. Okay. So the HAFS A model.
It's gonna be right.
Okay.
It's showing a peak of 165 knots, which is 195 miles an hour before landfall.
We did actually show that earlier. That's 190 mile an hour peak, and the HAFSB just a slight bit stronger than that as well. But crazy models, really. But it could be right. Also, that's the thing.
It could be.
There was also another southeast eye wall.
What?
Sorry, there's another southeast eye wall sond as well.
Okay.
Drop number 14. If you want to take a look at that.
Let's just have a little look here. Southeast.
I'm hearing the sond got 908. Not extract, but the sond, apparently.
Yeah, pretty much. It was 912 millibars with like 30 knot winds or something like that.
Okay. This is
36 knots, yeah.
This is about to be nuclear intensification. We're dropping 5 millibars every 1.5 hours now.
So just looking at drop 14 there, the southeastern eye wall, not as crazy as some of the other ones that I was looking at, Christian, in other eye walls. However, there was...
Say again, you cut out for a second there.
Just saying it wasn't as crazy as ones that we were seeing earlier in terms of winds aloft.
Fair enough.
Also,
However, still quite impressive with 170s knot gusts a few hundred meters up.
I may have to step out for a couple minutes in a little bit.
Well, that's all right. We're finishing up shortly here.
Okay.
I think Jack has rejoined us at this point as well. Jack, instant reaction to that update from the National Hurricane Center.
I actually just got back, so I haven't seen it yet.
An upgrade to
right now,
165 miles an hour, pressure 908.
908. Wow, I wasn't expecting it to get that low. Okay. 165. I was expecting though.
Yeah.
I wouldn't at this point. I wouldn't be surprised if this thing eventually reached sub 900. I'm not saying it's possible.
Well, it is possible.
It is possible.
It definitely is on the table.
It's on the table, yeah, absolutely.
It doesn't. It's got 24 hours.
And
Me
this
and
thing's at
Short time.
what did you say its deepening rate was? At the minute?
5 millibars per hour.
5 per hour, and it's got 24
right then.
hours.
Okay, it's got a lot of time
Oh,
then.
Lord.
Never mind.
There you go.
Oh,
It
yeah.
just looks like it's started on that next step to reach whatever intensity it's aiming for next.
Well,
I mean, yeah,
I-
it has still a lot of room. The storm looks healthy. The conditions in the atmosphere and in the humidity and in the sea surface temperatures are extremely favorable as well. So this is like the worst case scenario for Jamaica right now, and for Melissa, it's like the best mix to still strengthening into a record-breaking hurricane.
Yeah. Was the key messages updated with this advisory?
Yeah, they're probably still saying very similar stuff, though.
yeah. They've been going with the same thing. I just pulled it up.
Once again, some more visible imagery here looking right into Melissa. Such an impressive looking eye there. Although I would say it's actually a few more little low clouds than there were earlier on today. So that's interesting, but not really of any real consequence. But the storm is strengthening again by the looks of things here. Now up to 165 mile per hour winds, pressure 908 millibars if you've just joined us. That's from National Hurricane Center. I believe they must have used that dropson data to go with that number. I can find out for sure by taking a look at the forecast discussion, which I'll read out here. That it has the classic strong hurricane appearance in satellite imagery this morning with a well-defined 10 nautical mile wide eye embedded in a central dense overcast with cloud tops colder than minus 80 degrees. Hurricane also has a large complex of outer banding over the eastern semicircle and a circulation that covers most of the Caribbean west of 70 degrees west longitude. NOAA and Air Force Reserve Hurricane Hunter aircraft indicate the central pressure has fallen to 908 millibars, with both aircraft releasing dropsons in the northeastern eye wall that support an initial intensity of 145 knots. The NOAA aircraft left the storm early after experiencing severe turbulence in the southwestern eye wall. The eye is wobbling around due to the slow motion, but the best estimate for the initial motion is west at 3 knots. Mid-level ridge north of Melissa is weakening as a deep layer mid-latitude trough moves eastwards through the southeastern United States. This should cause the hurricane to turn northward during the next 12 hours or so at a continued slow forward speed. After 24 hours, Melissa should turn northeastward with some increase in speed as the mid-latitude westerly flow becomes the dominant steering mechanism. This general motion should continue for the rest of the forecast period. Of course, it does move on a pretty much slide rule towards Bermuda. On the forecast track, pretty much saying all of what we just said there. Some fluctuation in intensity is likely during the next 12 to 24 hours due to the possibility that Melissa will start an eyewall replacement cycle. No evidence of that yet. However, this is unlikely to weaken Melissa significantly, and there is no practical difference in Melissa making landfall in Jamaica at Category 4 or 5 intensity, since both categories produce catastrophic wind damage. After reaching Jamaica, a combination of land interaction and increasing southwesterly shear should cause some weakening, although Melissa is still forecast to be a major hurricane when it reaches Cuba. So pretty much all the things we have been saying there. I was hoping for maybe a little bit more insight on the forecast philosophy and how strong they reckon it might be able to get, but they've really left that very much open, and if anything suggesting that an eyewall replacement cycle might happen at any point and the storm will have peaked. But certainly as of right now the storm has not peaked.
Nope.
No. Although, what are Recon doing right now? I think they're headed from southeast to northeast, probably gearing up for another center pass.
I think they're going to
northeast to
go
southwest.
I think they're going to
Yeah.
do that next. Just need to wait a bit to verify that. I don't think they're doing a U-turn. It would make sense for them to be doing a northeast to southwest soon, but we won't be here for that, unfortunately. But they will, maybe 30 minutes, maybe a bit more than that, we'll have that.
Okay. I want to jump in real quick. I have official wording from NOAA employee. They said November 42 Romeo Fox hit 3.5 Gs and negative 1.0 Gs on their second pass inbound. They have to inspect the aircraft, and it's good that it's going back up tomorrow. The limit is 3.0 Gs, and they hit 2.5 in Milton. So this is 1 G stronger than they got through Milton.
It doesn't necessarily surprise me though, when just
Slight level
how
winds.
tight the gradient is with those strongest winds. It's only for a few miles. It's so much of a violent change with this storm, more so than Milton and most other hurricanes to ever exist.
Yeah, this thing's have remained an absolute monster.
It's that very tight, very violent, very robust core that's been so. I'm honestly running out of words to describe it, but I'm not surprised. That's why Nowhere had to make the way out. It's ridiculous.
So impressive right now, but we are finishing up, guys. Thanks to the team for joining us for this 2 hours of discussion. There's going to be some storm updates on the channel later on, I'm pretty sure, and there's going to be a live tropical weather bulletin tonight at the usual time, 8 p.m. In the meantime, we're going to throw you onto our automated stream, which is running for the entire duration of Melissa, where you can track the storm day and night at all hours. Right now, it's looking phenomenal, and the pressure is and the wind is starting to back that up. 165 miles per hour, 908 millibars. We'll see you again fairly soon, very soon, because there's going to be a lot more to talk about with this storm. Landfall in Jamaica expected tomorrow during early daylight hours by the looks of things so far, but that could still be subject to change, and I would still suggest that we are expecting a Category 5 landfall. That's all from us for now. We'll see you again soon.